Welcome back for another episode of Last Week of Epoch. We are on episode 23. I am Perry the Pig. Joining me today is, as always, my co-host,
Cynical Squid.
And as a special guest, we have Lone Star McFluffin. Before we get started, I want to say, first of all, welcome to the people who are joining us here live on Twitch. Remember, you can always tune in live. Most of the time, these podcasts are being hosted here on twitch.tv/PerryThePig. But you can catch us on YouTube, you can catch us on Spotify, everywhere we need to be. You'll note that Grim Reaper _TV, our normal host, is not here presently. If he joins us halfway into the podcast, we'll bring him back in. But we're having a couple of technical difficulties in the background, so we're just going to move past those and do the best that we can. So, with that said, Lone Star McFluffin himself, welcome. How you doing?
Hi. Good. How are you guys?
I'm doing great. I'm excited for Friday. Yes. Oh my God. Finally.
I have to say thank you for having me on this week because it's like the best week to be on. The week of patch is when there's all the exciting stuff to talk about.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, it's nothing but speculation at this point. We know roughly how things are going to work. We know like the new skills that are coming, but we don't know the skill tree for them. We know the new transformations that are coming, but we don't know how they're going to work. Like, once you sit down and start playing with these skills, everything gets different. So right now, I'm still excited, skeptical, but still excited.
Skeptical,
huh? Yeah. So when it comes to it, it's like we know. So for example, one of the things that I'm excited about is I feel like I'm already so far off topic, but using Serpent Strike on the what's it called, Swarm Blade transformation. What are the new Druid things?
Yeah, I call it Bug Butt, but Swarmblade works too.
King Bee, Moth Daddy, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah, those are all good.
So I'm excited for that, and I want to see how the whole thing works. But like, I don't know, like, is the best damage node locked behind something else? Do I need to travel through this in order to get, like, where are the more damage multipliers? What's like that's what's going to decide where I build something.
That's like always the first thing to look at. Where are the more damage multipliers, and go from there.
All right, so I would shame myself if I were in Squid's shoes right now. So McFluffin, you are the guest of the day. I want to know, first of all, who are you? What do you do? What do you do here on Twitch? What do you do on YouTube? And what do people expect when they see you making content?
Boy, those are great questions. I ask myself those a lot as well, especially the who are you. So far, I am someone who mostly streams Last Epoch, and I've been doing it since late alpha. So that's like a long time ago. 2.5 years I've been streaming Last Epoch. I stream like 5 to 6 days a week. I do make YouTube content as well, although not quite as consistently. I've got like 3,000 hours in the game now. And I also am a community tester. I should probably be bringing that up, given we're going to talk about speculation stuff. So there might be times I'm like, I can't talk about that. Probably not too often, but just bring it up ahead of time in case, just so we know. But yeah, I have someone who at some point I got bitten with the bug of passion for Last Epoch, and it hasn't left me yet. So hopefully it doesn't for a very long time.
So you're a community tester. You stream, you make YouTube content. I think that you're right smack in the middle of updating some of your Last Epoch Academy videos. Is that true?
Yeah, Last Epoch University. Actually, the first redone, like updated one for 0.8.4 will be live tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central.
That's awesome.
And from there, I'll be putting them out over about a 2-week period.
That's actually the first thing that I knew about you. Once I saw your name starting, the first thing that I saw, like when I see someone else streaming, I like to like poke around Google, poke around YouTube to see what else people do with their time. And I saw your name pop up immediately, and I was like, oh man, this guy has like all the educational videos out there already. This guy knows what he's doing. That's good.
Oh, appreciate that. Yeah, I actually started that because I saw Zizaran do it on PoE, and I started watching them, and I got addicted to them. I like that kind of content. I'm like, Ellie needs this, so I did it. It was actually 9 months ago. It'll be 3 patches ago I did it, and just like the content obviously has changed a lot over that period of time. It's like, all right, it's time to do a new one, so I'm not giving bad information to new players with all the things that have changed.
And now we have the crafting change coming out too, which is like totally changing
completely
everything
changed
we
that
know.
lesson. Yep, everything about that lesson is completely different now.
All right, so we have Grim Reaper finally joining us. Thank you for shutting down your instance of Grim Dawn and joining us here to talk about Last Epoch. I appreciate that. So we're gonna keep talking about McFluffin. It's great. So yeah,
I lost
McFluffin.
track of time.
So we were talking about.
I lost track of time.
We were talking about YouTube, the videos that you've been putting out, inspired by Zizarin, which is great because he even has a unique item coming out. Is Zizarin's unique item coming out during patch 084 as well? As long as we're talking about him,
I'm pretty sure. I think they announced that it was on his reveal where he had that big chest of awesomeness and he pulled out the wooden helmet and everything. So yeah, I'm pretty 99% sure. Kelvara in chat says yes, and I'm pretty confident that it is in this patch.
so we finally get to cosplay as squirrels too. Oh, or I guess
Excellent.
the squirrel father. I guess. Cool. All right, so we have plenty of things to talk about. We have the entire patch preview that just got spoiled by EHG the other day, including most of the information that we already knew about if you've been keeping up with EHG, or I guess with Last Epoch over the past couple days and weeks, but also some additional teasers of unique items and some reworked artwork for Chapter 5. So McFluffin, I'm going to leave it up to you. You have a million topics that you could choose from. What's on your mind? What do you want to talk about?
All of it? Is that an option within the
Yes,
time frame?
Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and start. Sure. Got a long day ahead of us.
Everybody's talking about legendaries, I think, the most right now. That seems to be what everyone wants to think about. They want to theory craft. How can I make the most broken OP legendary possible? I think the crafting stuff is going to be just as important, if not more important, to the way the game feels. But everyone wants to talk about legendaries. So it seems like that's what we should do.
All right, give me the rundown then. So I guess I want to make sure that that Cynical Squid gets to talk as well. Squid, I need to know, can you give us a rundown of how legendaries work?
No, because it's finals week.
I appreciate the honesty. That's good. All right. All right.
But yeah, no, seriously, outside of I briefly skimmed the release about it, but I have been getting destroyed by finals and work and such. So thankfully, all of that's over tomorrow.
What just happened to the stream? There you go.
I don't know what's happening to the stream.
Who knows? And then I am free to play Last Epoch on Friday when the patch drops, which has me very excited.
Nice.
Good. Glad. I've heard some similarities between Last Epoch having the 084 patch and what I equate with Path of Exile, which is people are giving their kids and giving them to their significant others. They're taking some time off work. They're getting ready to stream for the entire day or just play all weekend. And I mean, listen, I've spent tens of thousands of hours playing Path of Exile, and that really it reminds me of the league starts, and unfortunately also reminds me of the servers crashing and not being able to get back in queue. But with the good comes the bad. So I'm excited.
Fortunately, you don't have the bad yet because we don't have multiplayer, so you don't have to worry about anything crashing.
It's true. And the player base is significantly smaller because we're still in early access, and that's just the kind of stuff that happens. That's fine. I'm glad cameras are working. Grim Reaper, I think you're McFluffin still, and
he's McFluffin still.
It's fine. It's no big deal.
It's like that sometimes.
It's okay. I'm perfectly fine with being Lone Star. He's a handsome fella. I can get down with that. I don't mind people thinking I'm a handsome guy.
Well, thank you. And I'm fine with being shamed. I've had some wine, so it'll be fine.
So that's why you were complimenting my music. Oh, thank you for the compliment. So in case I don't want to assume that our audience is keeping track of every single detail that comes out as soon as it comes out. So let's make sure that people know what legendary items are. So legendary items, they are a new class of items that's going to become available on December 10th, 2021, this Friday. So what I'm doing, and what I've seen some other people do as well, is delete my unique items. So I'm keeping some of them. I'm keeping the ones that I like to use, but that whole 6 or 7 stash tabs full of them, I'm not keeping those anymore because I don't need them. So legendary items, we're gonna find new uniques on the ground. Uniques will have a new property that is not available right now. Your old unique items aren't gonna get it, only the new ones will. But you're gonna find unique items on the ground like normal. They're gonna have between 0 and 4 legendary potential, and you can combine that with an exalted item. And between 0 and 4, or I guess 1 and 4, between 1 and 4 random affixes from your exalted item will be stapled onto your unique item, which sounds like some crazy power creep to me. That sounds so busted, but I'm really excited for it. So
I was going to say nothing about this sounds remotely balanced, and I can't wait to break the game.
it's interesting, isn't it? Like, you're telling me I can just take 2 items and combine them? Like, hello? That's insane.
The bad part is, Perry, as you're talking, I'm looking at Lone Star and I'm watching the gears in his head turn. He's already got stuff picked out in his head. He already knows what he's going to craft whenever it comes out.
I know what I want to craft. Does that mean I'll get what I need to craft it? That's the real question.
Hit me with it. What legendary are you most excited to get?
Let's see. Most excited is gonna be. There's several. I'd love to have a transient rest with a tier 7 move speed and a hybrid health. A Baldur's Wrath with probably crit multi, some base damage would be nice. Apathy's Maw with base crit would be awesome for my Warpath build.
I'm in for that one.
Yeah, those are probably the 3 off. I mean, there's some obvious ones, like I'd love to have a +2 Ravenous Void, but let's be realistic, it's not going to happen. Those are probably the most, like, probably I could possibly get these and make something cool out of them. Also, like, there's a bunch of uniques like Helmet and Chest, and put increased health and plus skill fixes on those would be awesome. Like, if I could get a Wings of Argentus with increased health and plus Warpath, I mean, I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah.
You're just done with last Epoch at that point and go play.
I've accomplished everything I need to accomplish this game. I'm moving on.
So
that'll be the peak.
Getting even, like, if you have a Wings of Argentus that has like one legendary, one legendary potential on it, you could put like vitality or life or percent life or some kind of damage modifier, and any outcome is insane.
Mm-hmm.
They're all good. They're all really good.
Yeah.
There's very few things that could go on that would be bad stun avoidance. But of course, it's bad for everything.
Put stun avoidance on your item.
You're not wrong. Just put in something that doesn't have stun avoidance available with 4 good fixes and put them on. And that's going to be the interesting thing. People are going to have to strategize. Okay, I've got this Exalted that's got an amazing tier 7 affix, but the other affixes are eh. Then I've got this other one that doesn't have as good of an affix on it, like as good of Exalted, but the other ones are all good, and so I know I'll get something good. So should I take the risk, 25% chance on a 1 legendary, try to get that tier 7 on there, or should I go the safe route and get a decent legendary no matter what? And that's where it's going to be really interesting to see people's strategy.
I'm already picturing.
Oh, go ahead.
I was already picturing stash tabs with like 20 uniques on one page, and then the next page 20 exalts of different modifiers already saved up, and people just combining shit and see what they can get.
Yep.
I kind of feel like if ever there were a time to wipe your save and start all over,
would be a good time.
If that's something that's interesting to you, I think Friday might be the day to do that.
I wish I could. I did it a few patches ago, and it was amazing, and I fell so far behind on YouTube content. And so I don't feel like I can safely do it anymore. But I actually loved wiping my entire account and starting fresh. I would do it every patch if I didn't feel like it would hurt my content.
I would do it every patch if also everyone else also did it every patch.
we did like it was a community wipe, but not every single person did, but most of the content creators actually wiped 2 patches ago.
Oh, wow,
and
cool.
It was cool. It was so much fun.
It actually sucked at the start though, because I was sitting there trying to craft shit, and I was like, "Oh crap! I don't have any damn shards. I wiped my whole account out."
No shards, no gold.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there in the void area, and I'm like, crap, I only got 10 void resistance. I'm going to get shafted through here. I either need to run through this really quick and get to the next area, or I need to go back and farm for a bit.
Well,
Yeah,
I hear that if you run to the very end and have thousands of monsters following you, you can just portal out and then portal back in and the monsters disappear. I saw McFluffin do it on stream.
Yeah, I did. Until it bugged out and portaled me back to the town with that portal and then reset me to the beginning of the entire map. Then it didn't work out so well.
Technically a hardcore strategy, but sometimes it's just a pain in the butt. Okay.
Yeah.
I tell new players when I come across them, like, if you can get to level 15 or 16, you're good to go. Like, that's the hardest part of the game right there. Like, you're fine.
Yep. And then chapter 9, but
Chapter what?
oh yeah, that's true. Wait,
Yeah,
I forgot. That's not
I don't
really
do
implemented.
I don't know
yet.
what that is.
New players tend to
is
do
chapter
it though.
9?
Like new players do the whole chapter,
Yeah.
the whole campaign. So
Like, chapter
They
9
have to
hard. It's
experience
like, I mean, I'm level 95 by the time that I do chapter 9. It's very easy.
it's super easy at level 95. It's crazy.
Yeah, I was
Live
saying, like I was getting my druid to 100. He was like level 97. So like obviously I hadn't played chapter 9 because I hadn't played the character in like 6 months, and I was like, man, this content's really easy when you're level 97.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Chapter 9 isn't actually that bad after all the nerfs. Like, I played it the first day whenever the patch dropped, and they didn't nerf anything yet. There was a lot of mobs that would one-shot you or just beat the living crap out of you. Now, Chapter 9's, it feels a lot easier to get through and a lot smoother, especially if you got at least a somewhat decent build. If you got a somewhat decent build, Chapter 9 is not that bad, even at level 50.
The next
Yeah.
time that I play a somewhat decent build, I'll check that and I'll let you know, okay?
It's true. Most of us
Yeah.
haven't played chapter 9 since like the first, character on the last patch, so we haven't really experienced any of the changes.
I have, and it's not bad.
So as long as we're on the topic of legendary items, I'm just like dying to learn something new. So like legendary items, getting sweet gear, totally min-maxing my character. Like at the end of the day, like a character that you play for a month or 2 months is probably going to have all legendaries in every slot. But for me, I spend a lot of my time doing these weekend tournaments as well. And I'm just dying to know, how many legendary items am I going to have after 3 days of playing? Like, am I going to have 0, 1, like 3, 4?
Mhm.
I don't know. Dying to find out.
Yeah. We've gotten used to like this 4-day sprint and what we could get to. And then these legendaries are like on top of everything we get. How does that affect playing for 4 days? Is it going to burn people out not to be able to get their legendaries if they can't get them? Or are we actually going to be able to get legendaries in 4 days, which would be, its own issue to deal with if everyone's like decked out in legendaries in 4 days? That's like going to be a problem. But it is going to be really curious to see how it affects the tournaments going forward.
Yeah.
I mean,
Good.
I don't get to play in the tournaments very much anymore because of work, so I'm just like, it'll be a fun viewer experience.
Well, as soon as you're done with your school, we'll get you back in there playing.
I mean, I still work like Saturday and Sunday all day, so
Oh, fair enough. I gotcha.
the problems of being a manager, I don't get to be off on the weekends anymore. Worst idea ever. Don't take promotions.
I'll write that down. Sure.
Yeah, I'll try not to.
Too late.
Right.
So I did want to bring something else up because I wanted to I guess one of the purposes of the podcast is to highlight people in the community, make sure everyone knows who the other folks out there are who are making content. So we know a little bit about what the community tester team does. We've had Quiet for Me on the podcast before. He's a CT community tester as well. And he just told us like a little bit behind the scenes, and then we're going to have him on the podcast in the next couple weeks as well. But something that we've never talked about before is EHG sponsorships. So I don't know the proper name for them, but what I do know is there's a handful of content creators out there on Twitch who get hashtag sponsor or hashtag ad in the title of the Twitch stream because they're sponsored by EHG. And McFluffin, as far as I know, you're one of them, right?
Well, we were sponsored. That actually ended. So we no longer have that particular deal or whatever you want to call it. That particular sponsorship is no longer in effect, which we knew that was going to happen. Us that were sponsored. We knew that this was a a period of time. But yeah, I was one of the ones that was sponsored.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? Just like give us some historical perspective on what the company's been doing.
Yeah, I can get into some details. So the sponsorship program was designed as a way for EHG to support those of us who have been around for a while, and making content for them consistently. And one of the reasons why it came up was because, well, when most of us started streaming or making YouTube videos for LE, we had a general expectation of when multiplayer in 1.0 would happen. And that was a long time ago. So we've been doing this without these like big like checkpoints where growth is expected to be explosive, right? Like multiplayer explosive growth, you expect that to happen. And 1.0, of course, is explosive. I mean, if Wilson can get over 100,000 viewers, imagine what Last Epoch can do on their 1.0, as long as they don't screw it up. That could be where it's like basically game changing for those of us who are content creators. So most of us were planning towards getting to those stages and hoping that the community support would be large enough to where we could just be self-sufficient. Like for me personally, I've been on savings this whole time, along with community support, but it's been a combination of the two. So this is one way for EHG to be like, hey, we know, you guys have been going a lot longer than you expected without multiplayer and 1.0. We're going to help you out a little bit. And so that's where the sponsorship came in.
I didn't have any of that information. So even though it's ended at this point, just like having that kind of context for what EHG has been doing, working with the community, the kind of money that they've been putting in the community, not only in like the game, but also in the development of, just the groups of people who are dedicating time to building content and building community. That's great. That's really cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's if you never needed evidence that EHG is highly unusual in how they care about their community, just look at that the fact that they didn't get anything from that. We were going to play the game anyway. We're all the people who were already playing the game. Mm-hmm. They weren't getting any more viewers by doing that. I guess you could say they got some goodwill, but they deserve it. Like, they that's goodwill that's well earned because they're sitting there supporting those of us who have been supporting them. And just not every company would have done that. So it meant a lot to me that they were willing to do that.
I think it speaks a lot to the people that are running the company as far as the character that they have to be able to willingly put that money out to help those that are content creators, even though they know that they're not going to get the same return on investment on it right away. In the long run, they probably will whenever multiplayer comes out. And you guys are, the bigger streamers like Perry, you Lone Star, Boardman. Hopefully Amarathi gets more viewers from Australia. So, those guys, everybody I just mentioned there, you guys are all good content creators. You guys are all good at breaking things. And you guys are all good at dying in starting zones. So we got to have somebody for all of that.
Have I ever died in a starting zone?
No, Perry did on the hardcore.
Oh, Perry did? Okay. I did once because I was testing. I did once. Lizard has died in a starting zone in a hardcore tournament. I hate to call him out, but I don't really have to call him out.
He stabbed me in the ribs on the Grim Dawn there because I was talking to my cousin about family issues while playing Grim Dawn and lost track of time, so I had to jab him in the ribs a little bit back.
I feel like you deserve all the shame, though. I don't see why he deserved the shame here. He was on time.
I wasn't trying to die at level 3. I just didn't have a good skill yet. Come on. So one more question before we move on about the sponsorship stuff. Mm-hmm. Did EHG did they ask for any specific content to be made? Like, no. Please play in hardcore. Please make this YouTube video. Highlight this thing.
It was completely open. The only thing, it was for streaming. It was, it wasn't for like YouTube videos or anything. Okay. It was just for streaming. But it was completely wide open. We could do whatever we want. We could say whatever we want. There was no restrictions on like being critical. If you go back and watch some of mine, I'm actually critical of some of the decisions they make while I'm sponsored. Which definitely not every company would let you do that. But they're like, no, we just want you to do what you do, and here's some support along the way.
That's awesome.
That's super good. Like the fact that they would even allow you to say critical things about them honestly makes me respect them even more, because I've watched sponsor streams for other games where like the person's clearly in salesman mode is what I call it. Yeah. Where it's like they take their sponsor stream as basically a sales pitch to get you to buy the game. But the fact that ESG is like, no, please tell the truth as you see it about our game. that makes me have a lot of respect for them to give you the opportunity to do stuff like that while sponsoring you.
Yeah, and they've always been like that since I've been here. You know, and I'm now like the grandfather, I guess. I think I'm the longest running content creator at this point. They've always been like that. I've never seen them try to tell anyone not to say something, or try to insert their own opinion in. Like, they're just really, really good about just tell us how you guys feel about the game, and then we'll internalize that and go from there. They're never trying to create the narrative.
I'm happy that they have their Friday dev streams as well. So normally I'm not able to catch them, but just like the fact that we have that kind of transparency coming from the devs, I'd kind of like to see more people than just Mike up there. Maybe that's been the case in the past, but every Friday stream that I've missed has just been Mike over and over. Even that kind of transparency is great. I'd like to see more people up there too. I want to hear more opinions, more stories.
Yeah,
you need to get Judd. That's who needs to be on there. Judd needs to be on there.
Yeah, people have definitely wanted Judd on there, and it might happen. I could see it happening. Mike has definitely said that he wants more people to put more people on there, and he has brought on some people in the past. Like they redid Smite on the dev stream at one point with the artist. The artist actually redid Smite on the dev. That was a cool one.
That sounds so cool. What?
Yeah, he just completely remade the Smite skill, like artistically, all the visuals on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's very, very cool.
I know there's one stream that I missed in the past. I think a couple bits of it are up on YouTube, but they transformed the game into VR and just like Mike with his headset on, walking around the end of time. Like, oh, man. There's some cool stuff they've done, isn't there?
As long as they get other people on there besides Mike, people will probably stop the whole rumors about Mike being trapped on an Amish farm too. So
what?
You haven't heard that?
There's that person who wants
around for a while.
There's a person who wants an Amish class in there, and he keeps saying ridiculous stuff about it.
Yeah, saying that Mike's being held hostage on an Amish farm.
There are some...
the other one is the midget. The midget's under the desk with a gun and is holding Mike hostage.
There are some cultural aspects of the Twitch and Discord and YouTube Last Epoch community that I just don't feel like I'm connected to. I've been around for like 10 months at this point, but like you start talking about Amish classes, the Amish transformation for the druid.
It's one guy.
I haven't heard of this story before.
Like every stream he goes on there and asks about the Amish class. Like,
it's good.
He wants a furniture builder. Okay, he wants to have trade classes already, so he wants a furniture builder.
Cool. Great. So let's get back to the imminent patch 084, which is coming out 3-4 days. Maybe I can count properly.
Friday.
We'll just call it Friday. That's fine.
Friday, yeah. Friday's good.
It saves me from doing math on stream. I learned my lesson a long time ago.
It's for the better.
So I would like to know, we've asked a couple other people this as well. McFluffin, what are you excited to try out as your first class, your first build once the patch drops?
Okay, so I'm pretty sure I'm going werebear because I've never done a werebear and no one else is talking about doing a werebear. So I don't want to go bug butt. I'm just not super into bug butt. He just looks ridiculous to me, and other people are gonna go bug butt. So I feel like I can't. And then is it ethereal blades? Ethereal blades? Is that the name of it? The rogue skill?
The new one is Umbral.
Yeah. Was it ephemeral?
Umbral blades.
Umbral. I don't know why I can't do that word. I keep screwing it up. Umbral blades. Yeah. That's really cool, but like I feel like half of the community wants to do Umbral blades. So I'm like, all right, I guess Quiet's obviously gonna go Spriggan. He's gonna be a tree. So I guess I'm going werebear, which is not a bad thing. Like I said, I've never done werebear because EQ werebear was so broken so immediately. And yeah, it just looks cool to me. It looks fun. It's got like it's thematically really. It's just what I would like out of a werebear build. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Werebear has been like you could either be swipe, where the only thing you do ever is like, swipe endlessly, or you could play like the strongest build that's ever existed in the game.
Yeah.
Like you really just had two options, but now you have like a whole bunch of different stuff.
Yep, you got the new slam type ability on there. And I think the movement skill is going to be really cool because I am one of those weird people who really like Shield Rush, and I'll actually take Shield Rush over Lunge because it gets me like halfway across the map if I'm good with it. So having Shield Rush with a little bit of steering potential is like, oh my god, this is amazing.
and lightning zaps going on at the
Yeah,
same
lightning
time.
zaps can happen.
Yes.
Yep.
Sure enough, okay. And I guess
So, yeah.
now that we have the full spoiler, I kind of want to ask you two as well. Squid and Grim, what builds you looking forward to? What are you going to try out first?
Personally, I'm going Umbral Blades immediately. There's a frost conversion. I'm here for this.
Are you going Frostbite?
Yes, absolutely,
Oh, okay.
100%.
I'm into it.
I'm really excited for that. As far as like the druid stuff, though, I'm with McFluffin on this. Like, I'm 100% making like trying out the new werebear because like my druid right now that's level 100 is the swipe werebear thing because I was just like, all right, cool. I played melee EQ, that was fun, but like I got kind of bored of it because it's like, cool, I'm a god, awesome. So I turned it into swipe. So now I want to see what all stuff I can get into with the new werebear things.
I'm gonna try out the new bug form because
Nice
it's
bug
supposed
butt.
to work like
Nice.
it's gonna work like a rogue supposedly. So rogue's my favorite class, so I want to see how fluid it is with the druid because right now the druid for me I don't feel like Primalist is very fluid. I feel like it's a very clunky class as far as the way it feels in combat, whereas like a rogue is very fluid and just moves really really quickly. So I'm hoping that the bug form that they did happens to move very fluidly like the rogue, so you can dash through quickly and kill stuff fast. That's what I'm hoping for, is a very speedy killer.
I'm into that. Nice. I will say the reason that I perked up so much upon hearing Cynical's response there about the cold conversion Umbral Blades is over this past couple days or so, maybe almost a week, I've been leveling up two different characters, one Spellblade and one Sork, and one is doing Shatter Strike, which is currently crit, and the other one's doing Static Orb, which is currently crit. And I really want to, upon the release of the next patch, farm up a Frostbite Shackles or Frostbite Gauntlets, whatever those new unique gloves are called. Because if I get them after Friday, then there's a chance that they drop with legendary potential. And I can start making some legendary Frostbite gloves. Maybe I can get some legendary, the new unique, the Frostbite boots as well, and start getting like some Frostbite stuff going on. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, I like the frostbite support that they've added and through the uniques this patch. We'll see if they really push it over. I think they might.
Think you're going to be able to break the game, Perry, like Amarathi did with the Frostbite Shackles?
Maybe not break the game, but definitely have like a good time, right? Like I'm playing the current build. I'm playing like a crit Shatter Strike thing, and like it's fun, it's fine. But like, you know what? I wish I had 200% more movement speed. That'd be nice. You know, maybe I should just change this entire crit thing into the Humming Bee Amarathi build instead. It looks pretty convincing, doesn't it?
Oh, Humming Bee. What if you added some, melee fizz or melee cold damage to that? Now what?
What if you put base crit on your Humming Bee? Oh, that'd be pretty good.
That would be pretty good.
Oh,
What if you dual wielded it one with melee cold? What if you actually let's get a +2 with melee cold and melee crit, and then dual wield it.
How about that's like once you start
Wait.
talking about these
Let's
things,
just do tier 7 attack speed on both of them and make
Why
it like
not?
1,000% attack speed.
Yes.
Why not?
So I've been thinking about the legendaries that I would or I guess like the unique items that I would put in a build that I want to use over like a good exalted item. So one of the best items that I've ever found is a triple exalted, triple tier 6 relic that has, crit multi and endurance.
I remember it.
Yeah, and
so mad we
+3 to
got
hammer
it.
throw on it. And as good as it is, if I'm gonna play a hammer throw build, if I want the hammers to do damage, I probably need to play Enra's technique, which puts me to sleep. So I guess the best way for me to play hammer throw would be like bleed, right? If I really want to take advantage of the hammer throw dealing as much damage as possible. So if I could take that relic and slap it onto like a maybe a tier 3 or like a 3 prop or a 4 prop Valdir's Chalice, would be insane. It'd be absolutely nuts. That's gonna be one project that I work on.
Wait,
Valdir's Chalice.
if you get a +4 Valdir's Chalice, I am going to start questioning how you are notepadding while on stream. Because there's no other way you're getting that.
I'll find it. It can't be that hard to get, right? There's some well, go ahead.
Did you see what the +4 drop rate is for Ravenous Void?
Oh, it's like 1.9 times 10 to the 19th.
Something like that. Yeah, it's the number is larger than the number of seconds that have passed in the universe so far.
Oh, good.
And that is just that's after it drops, so that doesn't include the rarity of it actually dropping. That's just it actually dropped. Now here's your odds of getting a +4 on it.
So I need to drop 1.9. I don't even know what the word is for that. What's the how many zeros is that?
It's a lot. It's way too many.
So I need to drop that many Ravenous Voids.
Yeah. So hopefully Valdir's Chalice isn't that rare, but even if it's like, 5 times more likely, that's still never gonna see it. You're never gonna see it.
Someone's gonna get one though, right? I've decided that like, so what's my first build gonna be? Like I'm gonna go farm up a Frostbite Gauntlet, and I'm gonna go try to make the Frostbite build that I'm planning on making. But like any 4-prop legendary item or 4-prop unique item that I find, I'm gonna make a build around it. I don't know what it's gonna be. It's gonna be something. It's gonna be awesome, and then I'm gonna use it.
If you find one, you should. Because I'll put this back in another. I think it was Tunk who calculated. Tunk or Tiny who calculated if every insect on the planet got a Ravenous Void, 3 of them would have a +4.
Good.
So I'm just gonna throw this out there.
That tells me like somebody's got to be that insect.
I'm going to throw this
Why
out
not
there.
Me?
My bet is on Perry. My bet is on Perry because Perry, you have all of the RNG in the world whenever it comes to this game. I have watched you play in tournaments, and you're like, "Oh, look, +7 movement speed boots. Those are rare, chat."
It doesn't help me win.
Something else that's perfect for my build.
I'm still gonna die at wave 120, but my gear is really good.
Speaking of dying at wave 120, do you think they're going to fix the Chapter 9 mobs in Arena?
No.
Absolutely not.
No, I don't. I think we'll see some things rebalanced. We know, for example, that static orbit version is going to be rebalanced or nerfed in some way. That's not a playstyle that they want in the game. It's like too fast, too auto-bomby for them. We've been making jokes.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, we've been making jokes for months that Devouring Orb does not fit the vision of the game. So like, I love Devouring Orb, but I'm totally expecting Devouring Orb to be nerfed on Friday.
Okay. What else do you expect to be nerfed?
Not Chapter 9 mobs. I don't know. What's gonna be nerfed? Some people think that channeled melee flurry build is gonna be nerfed in some way. Like it's really good, but I don't think that's gonna be nerfed. I think the devs have better things to do than like nerf that kind of stuff.
Yeah, some of this stuff that like you could say could get nerfed. Like no one was really playing that until you guys played the hardcore tourney a few weeks ago, and just it was obvious you could delete stuff with it. But since it was so recent, I mean it's possible that they're watching the tourneys and be like, oh wow, that's too powerful. But I feel like usually stuff has to like permeate in the community for a while before they're like, oh, I see, yeah, that's really strong. We should do something about that.
Yeah, it reminds me of how Path of Exile has nerfed things over time. Like very, very often, the Path of Exile style of nerfing has been nerfing based on popularity and not necessarily based on strength. If one person out there has a busted build, like it's probably gonna go, untouched for a while unless it's breaking the servers. But like if everybody's doing something that's like, a notch or two above what's expected, then they're gonna nerf it. Because they don't want the outside perspective of the game. They don't want the shareholders to look at the game and be like, hey, everyone in your player base plays one build and they don't do anything else. So like that's the outside perspective that they want to get rid of. It kind of feels like the same thing in last Epoch. Like if melee channeled flurry with puncture and bleed deals 3 times more damage than it should deal, like you're still walking up to monsters and punching them. Like it's still a pretty good playstyle.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a part of it. I also think there's just there's a reality of the devs can only see so much of what we do at any given time because they're actually developing the game, and so builds that are really busted but are not that out there and visually accessible might just go under the radar for them because they just don't have the time to find something that's a little bit more obscure.
Mm-hmm. So I could take my build to wave 3,126. But I choose not to take my build that far. So that's how I keep my builds under the radar.
That's good because
Right.
you'll get called a cheater if you get that high, and if it's actually legitimate, you should wait till multiplayer and then bust it out.
That's true.
Write that down. Write that down.
Yep.
I don't know, man. Like, so we brought this up before. For those of you who don't know, on lastepoch.com, you can take a look at the ladder that's there, and you'll see that in each of the 4 leagues, in softcore, hardcore solo, softcore solo, there are people who are pushing the ladder as much as possible. Oftentimes, you're going to see people with a couple letters as a prefix to their name, and those are sometimes us, and sometimes other people in the community who are doing those weekend races, which is sweet, and like it's cool to see your name up there, even if you're just doing it for 4 days. On the other hand, the rest of that ladder is basically useless because it doesn't mean anything. There's no way to guarantee that somebody isn't using Notepad, that somebody isn't editing their local game file to just have whatever gear they want, or even to just appear at whatever arena level they want, because you can just write that into a Notepad document somewhere and be at wave 5,000. It kind of sounds fun once. Like I would like to know how fast I die, I guess, or whether I can tank a hit at wave 5,000. But at the same time, it's like, first of all, like in terms of integrity as a content creator, like I don't want to do that. It's kind of lame. On the other hand, it's like, are you really learning that much at wave 10,000 that you couldn't learn by just like sitting down and getting to wave 200? Like 200 is like kind of spooky by itself.
Yeah, and it won't make you a better player when multiplayer comes out because no one's doing 10,000 then. So you've learned what's basically useless information.
I'm just testing my build, though.
I wonder how hard the Chapter 9 mobs hit at that wave number.
Yes.
Probably one shot.
I mean, I would assume they're one shots, given that they're already one shots at like wave 130 or whatever.
Wave 120. Yeah, they're basically one shot.
You know what? I wonder. There's a move speed modifier on the arena. I wonder how fast they start moving at wave 10,000.
I want that movement speed modifier from the arena added to corruption. I want like monsters get 1% more damage or whatever. Like,
okay.
Like 2% more damage per one, something like that. I want like monsters gain 1% movement speed per 10 corruption. Like make it scale a little bit slower than everything else, but just a little bit more movement speed. Because like I always feel like in all these action RPGs, the scary monsters are the ones that can actually get to you. And I want corruption to just have a little bit of movement speed on it.
Interesting. I have to think about that, how that would affect the game. My Warpath build will start to get caught finally.
Exactly.
But I don't want it to get caught. I like that it doesn't get caught. Yeah, that would be interesting. It might help melee out a little bit because like if you're in melee anyway, you might as well be melee.
Mm-hmm.
But then we're all stunned constantly. Is that really worth it?
It's hard to design around stun.
I assume if Perry is trying to implement these changes, he's also implementing the like remove stun from the game stuff.
I will take that deal any day of the week. You want to remove stun and add that modifier? Absolutely. Let's do it.
Done.
Yeah.
What? All right. So like maybe there's a question. Let's say that stun cannot be the answer to this question. Is there something that you would remove from the game? Not stun. Something else.
Not stun.
Not stun. What's on your nerves? What could Last Epoch do without?
There's probably a few answers to this. Like the obvious first one is off-screen attacks from enemies who have never been on screen before. That just seems so cheap.
You're looking out for me. Thank you. I just died to it.
Yeah, the way you died in the arena should not happen ever. Yeah. Now, if you go in their range and then you leave their range and they attack you from, that's fine. They can have higher range than your screen if you've already acknowledged their existence and you know where they are and you can play around their positioning. But if you have no idea where they are and they're just like, oh, you're dead, like, no, that's not cool.
Interesting
I
way
feel,
to
I feel
end
validated
this
now.
for the night with a good concept of movement speed, but take out the stun. So let's just end it here for now. That's going to do it from all of us here at Last Week at Epoch. McFluffin, thank you so much again for being a guest on the podcast. Really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
And from all of us here at Last Week at Epoch, we'll catch you in the next one.